Well, Narayuki-sensei, you're a young guy. You should have plenty of love stories to share with us. Well, to you male teachers of Narayuki's school, I say he does. Look at these 4 complete alternative routes that he has participated in that have all in fact been love stories. And just as a side note, we're currently in one of the routes as we speak. So let's talk about chapter 181. Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zelia, and thank you for joining me for this spooky chapter of We Never Learn, the manga series. That's right, with chapter 181 a trick, or was it a treat? Let's talk about it in this video. Nice cover image, by the way. Solid picture. So it's school trip time, and this chapter really did an excellent job in giving us some great panels, whether that was making us laugh with Kirisu fangirling at the shrines over the bull statue and other things, or whether it gave us information about other characters that we didn't know beforehand. Like, it might just be a personal thing for me, but I didn't know that Kirisu was actually a history teacher. We also learned that Narayuki is studying world history, or to become a teacher in that subject, and we get other bits of information sprinkled here and there that kind of, it adds to the enjoyment of the chapter overall, giving it more substance and more enjoyment. However, when we're at the shrines in the beginning of this, we see Kirisu fangirling over the bull statue and other sort of parts of the shrine area. They're on a school trip. We know this, we've just gone over that. Now, her reactions from Kirisu were very unexpected and a little bit out of character. Well, for the Kirisu we know, that is. However, this gets justified by Kirisu mentioning that she missed out on these kinds of things when she was younger and at school. And what I think she really means by this statement is basically not the fact that she missed going on school trips, but she missed going on these school trips with friends. Yes, after all, Kirisu does view Narayuki as not only a co-worker or a student underneath her, but also a friend. And it's true that all along, having kind of a school trip with friends makes it so much better. We can relate to this on a personal level. If we have friends and we've gone on to school trips with them, it's always been a blast. We've always had a great time. And in all of our time of knowing Kirisu throughout this manga series and looking at Kirisu's past, we've not had one mention of her having a friend at school. So maybe she was a little bit of a isolation type of character. We know that her parents were very strict about her kind of figure skating, so that obviously played an impact in her kind of interactions with other classmates. And I think this plays a part in that statement of her mentioning that she missed out on things like this. Of course, she sees other students having fun together, freaking out, making their own wishes, and kind of trying to get as much good luck as possible. So she wants to do it herself with her friend, Narayuki. That's what I think anyway. You may think differently. We can always have a discussion about it down in the comment section. Drunk Kirisu makes a reappearance in this chapter, which leads us to that classic, we need to make sure no one sees us in this kind of situation. If they do, it would be bad. And we've seen this time and time again throughout the manga series, and now we've pretty much seen it with all 5 girls. Yes, all 5 female characters of the We Never Learn franchise have been in a situation where they've had to hide Narayuki or hide from someone while Narayuki has covered up for them. Kirisu just gets added to that bundle. The facial expressions that get shown during this section though, while Kirisu is underneath the blanket of Narayuki, were really nice and beautifully drawn. Whether that was showcasing shock, horror, realism, or happiness, surprise, whatever it was, whatever it may be, all of these expressions from Kirisu were fantastic. And it all told a different story based on her reaction. It really helped kind of set the mood and the tone of the chapter, giving us as reader more direction as to what each word and panel was entailing. I really thought that was great. I thought it was a really good writing technique that they used here. So, a real positive. And the interactions that we get, even though they were small with the other teachers, stayed true to what little information we know about these teachers already. We know that they like Kirisu, we know they like the other teachers, and they're a little bit kind of expressive with their views on the ladies around them. And that rings true here because they're like, oh yeah, we're guys. What we do on these trips is we talk about romance and stuff, and then we have pillow fights. So manly, right? And of course, that's exactly what we get. It was a nice segment. Like, it was there in the background, and it gave a little bit more substance to those background characters in the series. But again, I just thought it was a little bit of comedic fun that did help slightly with Naruyuki getting his feelings across and having Kirisu listen without it being creepy. I don't know. It was just okay. However, there were two things that I did not like about this chapter. And, yeah. Number one, the whole panel being dedicated to Kirisu's backside, I thought was a bit pointless and unnecessary. Yes, she's drunk. Ha ha ha. Why do we have to have a massive panel just showcasing her backside? I've already mentioned, yes, fan service is not, it's not something I want to see a lot of. We've seen quite a bit of it throughout the series, I understand that. But I feel like in the Kirisu, route, it's very prevalent and in your face, and this is just another example of it. It wasn't really necessary, in my personal opinion. Now, the second issue I have is a bit more kind of detailed and a bit more kind of in-depth, so you'll have to bear with me on this. And my other criticism / complaint about this chapter was Naruyuki's somewhat half-confession towards the end of this chapter, or at the end I should say. I don't think this is him being misleading in him stating that he likes Miss Kirisu. Because why state that you wasn't being misleading to the other male teachers like a couple of panels beforehand, only then to mislead Kirisu by stating that you like her? That doesn't make sense. So Naruyuki is saying something that he genuinely feels deep down in his own heart and feelings. Okay, fine. Plus, we know that feelings of admiration and respect can blossom into something a little bit more. These feelings of admiration and respect in someone else can kind of form romantic feelings. We've seen this time and time again in different mangas, and also a little bit in this as well. Now, we know that Naruyuki has these feelings of high admiration and respect towards Miss Kirisu because he states to the other male teachers that she is like a role model to him. And you can only really have a role model if you admire and respect them. So that's why I bring up the whole reasoning of having feelings of admiration and respect can blossom into romantic feelings further down the line. Now, here's why it becomes a problem. The reason as to why is simple. There's no build-up to Naruyuki or Kirisu having feelings for each other. Unless you factor in Naruyuki basically being lustful towards Kirisu, and the only evidence for him feeling that way is these random imaginations of her being in swimsuits or other revealing outfits. This is what we've had throughout this route so far. And honestly, it's still quite a weak reasoning if you want to call it that. My main problem with this route to begin with was the fact that neither Kirisu nor Naruyuki showed any feelings towards each other within the main timeline. This means that all of the chemistry between these two characters would need to be created in this arc. And yes, this confession / statement of I like you came across a little bit random and a little bit forced from Naruyuki's perspective. Now, I may be overthinking this. This might not actually mean that Naruyuki loves Miss Kirisu. However, because we know that this is a romance manga and, at the end of the day, these two characters have to get together. That's basically what's going to happen, because can you imagine the backlash if Naruyuki had an ending or a route ending with everybody where he got with them, apart from Kirisu, who is one of the most popular characters from this series? Yeah, so Naruyuki and Miss Kirisu are going to get together. Us reading this route is just learning how that happens. So, at the end of the day, we know that Naruyuki pretty much does, at this moment, have feelings romantically for Miss Kirisu, or if not, they're just on the brink. So this I like you statement / confession is 100% genuine from Naruyuki's character. And again, my reasoning as to why I don't like it is because A, it felt random and kind of forced, out of place almost. Number two, there's been no build up towards it. And yeah, I guess we can learn and expand on it in the future. But at the same time, I just kind of thought maybe we should have a bit more definitive stuff moving forward. And with the chapter ending like this, we could see some possible development for these two characters. So I will play devil's advocate and say this could lead to something a bit more fruitful down the line. Seeing that we could have some very awkward tension between Naruyuki and Miss Kirisu now, in the fact that Kirisu would have to struggle with their own conflicting emotions, as Kirisu isn't one to accept things straight away or at face value. And especially if you consider the fact that she herself struggles with the idea of love and romance as it is. Plus, Naruyuki states in this route specifically, and in this chapter, that he has no experience when it comes to love. So, like, does he even know that he romantically feels for Kirisu? Anyway, to keep on the line of being this is a positive, then, of course, we can focus more on Kirisu and learn how Kirisu develops and how she gets her feelings. And then maybe we can have a bit at the end when Naruyuki actually confesses and makes himself, like, expressed a bit more. Because that's something I think we're missing. We're missing more context and more reasoning. And yeah, okay, you can say I'm being a bit harsh, but at the same time, what I stated before, a fact it disappointed me in this chapter, that's just my personal opinion. And you might think differently, so that's fine. However, I'm open to the idea that this could lead to something better. It's just, at the moment, I can't see it being a positive. Hopefully, chapter 182, makes me think differently about that. Overall, I thought this was a good chapter, with the comedic aspect and the art style being the main highlight for me personally. I liked how, it just made me laugh from the get-go, and then it kind of had that kind of running comedy towards the end, and then kind of dived off towards that wasn't the best. But I'm interested to see how this route will move forward. Who knows? Something might have, triggered after this chapter, and we could see good things. I'm hopeful, and hopefully we do. Again, just felt a little bit weird and out of place, but hey, let's stay positive, let's keep moving forward, and we can explain some of the negatives, but as long as we have reasoning, and, we're all respectable. I believe I've been that way. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to know what you thought about this chapter specifically. And remember, dear viewers, I like you. Oh, wow. Can you imagine that? No, let's not go down that route. Anyway, have a great day. Like the video if you did. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. I've already said that again. Arigatou, matane. Goodbye.